Hey guys, what's going on? I wanted to talk about Argos came out, and you have to have a item level or gear score 1370 to do this fight. Now, a lot of people have been talking about more or less very bad design decision by Amazon Games. By the way, we don't even know if it's Amazon Games or Smilegate in this case who are really making the decisions here. That you need to be item level 1370 for those of you who don't know. From tier 3 forward, so 1300, the honing process gets slowed down immensely. There's a couple of mechanics that we do not have in EU and NA that are currently present in Russia and in Korea. There are the new Abyss dungeons and a couple of other events that grant you a ton of mats if you do them, and you can do them daily or even weekly. There's a couple of these that really make it a lot less pay to win than we have currently in the EU NA version, which is funny because from the start, Amazon Games was basically telling everybody that they want to make the game more accessible for the European audience, which obviously is not really the case right now. So there's a big outrage. I can see numerous points to be made or arguments to be made by people where they basically say that Argos came too early, that it came out too early, which I do not agree with. Like, there's a ton of content that doesn't necessarily need to be artificially stretched. It's either Argos too early or not enough honing. I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest. That Argos came out is very good. It gives the players that are already very far in the game, so the swipers, let's be honest, they have something to do now, right? And the people who want to catch up, if you up the honing rates, then they could get there faster and wouldn't be frustrated with 5 to 15% honing success rates on gear. It's like pulling the slot machines. It's absolutely atrocious, and we can see it on the numbers. What I want to show you right here is Lost Ark numbers. Right now, 657,000. That's basically the peak. Those are the peak hours in Europe. Before the Argos update came out, they didn't really talk. Like I said, there's nothing. There are no honing rate changes or anything. So we were on about 800,000 players. Then the update came out, and we lost over 200 or around 150 to 200,000 players. People have been saying, I saw this argument all the time, that this is also because they banned a bunch of bots. So I just want to show you right here from the Lost Ark forum this screenshot. You can see bot bans. Last Friday, we began rolling out bot bans, targeting over a million illegitimate accounts. I mean, those numbers don't add up no matter how you look at it, all right? If they banned over a million illegitimate accounts, how did we go from 800,000 Steam users to only 650,000? I don't really understand it. Unless there's some extra launcher that I'm not aware of. Or is the game on console? No, no idea. Write me in the comments. Maybe I'm just stupid. The next screenshot further solidifies this. If you take a look at this one, then you see Shadow Fox, which is one of the admins on the Lost Ark forums. We are continuously banning bots at different times. With that being said, this patch wasn't looked at to enticing large amounts of players back at a certain time. While we did unlock new content, it was obvious that the content wasn't for the majority of the player base. With the patch happening in the middle of the week, a week with EA, all right, EA because you have to pay for it, right? To unlock Argos, right? This is a DLC. And the most enticing of the patch being skins available for a month, it's too soon to look at charts to determine the effect the patch actually had. All right, that's just a classic marketing bullshit. La la la. We need to look at the numbers. It's too early to say whether whatever we did was a good decision or not. Well, I can tell you it wasn't. Then we have a couple of, like, you can see it if you type Lost Ark forums dev tracker, then you can see they actually have a pretty good dev tracker where you can see all the comments from the different developers on their own forums, right? So here we have another one. Since launch, we have been learning so much about this player base and what this version of Lost Ark need to be now and in the future. There's some uncertainty, and this uncertainty the team is actively working through. So I think that uncertainty is definitely being felt by the players. It is. Yes, definitely. That's right. I definitely understand the ask for large clarifying statements, more roadmap transparency, and communication all outstanding questions players have. I can say the team is 100% working on these things. It's a top priority, and we care about this a lot. Yes, you do, 100%. So, why do you have to learn about this player base? Are we that different from Korean and Russian players? Do you think we like our honing chances on 10 to 15%? And then Argos coming out. And by the way, on average, what I've heard from all the numbers, it's between 150 to 200,000 gold, which translates into about 2 to 5,000 US dollars to get from tier 3 from 1300 whatever to 1370. What was it? 75? No, 1370 for the first phase of Argos, which is unlocked, right? It's atrocious. It's atrocious, and you knew exactly what you were doing, what you are still doing. Now you're just looking at the numbers, because one thing I know from other games like Path of Exile, for example, Genshin Impact, of course. I mean, that's another one. World of Tanks. I can talk about this one also. Whales are making a substantial amount of money for the company, more than the free-to-play players. That is statistically almost always the case. What you have right here is a greedy decision to bring out Argos, not touching the honing chances, and see if you can get through with that without too much outrage. This is not something that is unique to Lost Ark. It's definitely not something that is unique to Amazon Games. I do understand completely that Amazon Game Studios is not always the same team that does always the same games. I do understand that completely. Okay, I know there's different people working on it, but this is exactly from the playbook that I've already seen a couple of times. You're waiting for the outrage just in case that the outrage doesn't come, so you can milk the whales a little more. That's why you didn't react fast enough to the concerns of the player base, and it's atrocious. I don't like it. Honestly, I feel like if they're gonna look at the whole thing, and what they're gonna do next, they will introduce the roadmap, probably another marketing sentence. We've heard your concerns, la la la. We're gonna up the honing rate. They're not gonna up it by much. They're just gonna throw us a bone. It's just gonna be a little bone, just so they can say that they tuned it a little bit. That's how they're gonna milk that further until, well, I don't want to speculate too much. I don't know what their future plans are. That they need to look at the player feedback. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm right now. I'm not really inclined to play the game further. I don't want to pay that much money to enjoy the newest content. And if I don't do that, I would have to play 8 to 12 hours a day. I just can't do that. I think most people cannot do this unless you go to school or studying or whatever. If you have a job or and other obligations, then this is just impossible, right? The funniest thing to me is that people have been complaining that Lost Ark is a Korean pay-to-win mobile game, and Amazon Games actually made it possible that the Western version of Lost Ark is more pay to win than the current Korean version. The irony in that is absolutely hilarious.